Hello again, Virtual Village Hall. We are back, 2026, a whole year later. I'm just gonna stall a little bit to let everybody join the live, so not gonna be cracking on anytime soon. But yeah, as you're tuning in, as you're joining the live, let me know how your Christmas was, how your New Year's was. Let me know how the weather is where you are, because I've had snow all morning. And I'm down south, I'm down in the south, and we've been having snow, which is pretty rare. So I've never been in snow that is deep enough to do anything with, like I've been able to maybe build a snowman or something, but I've never been in snow where, I've been like skiing or snowboarding or any deep snow activities, which I'd love to do someday. It's never come onto my path as yet. Right, I'm just checking to make sure that I'm on the live on the page, which I am, which is always good. Good to see that I can be seen. So yeah, when you do join the live, just say hello. Let me know that you're out there and joining in, and it's always nice to see the familiar faces and names. So some of you who tune in regularly may have noticed I had a little haircut. My barber wanted to do this for the longest time. I've had long hair since I was, so I'm going to be 33 next week. And I've probably had long hair since I was like 18, 19, I think. So more than a decade, maybe 15, nearly 15 years, I guess. But yeah, cut my hair. And Gillian saying, not much snow in Esher. Yeah, it's not been a lot of snow. It's been a sprinkling, it's been an exciting, like, oh, look out the window and seeing snow. But other than that, it's nothing. Most of it's already melted now, actually, as well. So not too exciting. Would love a blizzard. I'm up for it. I wouldn't mind a little blizzard just to throw a few snowballs around. Irene, good to see you again. And welcome everyone to 2026. We're going to start again. That's the plan. We're going to start all again from the basics. Lots of ice in Dunoon. Cool. Yeah, not much ice around here, actually. I am one of those. I don't know if anybody else on here, but sometimes you go on the internet and there's just people with videos where they're like throwing big boulders into ice, off a bridge or something. And I love those videos. They're very satisfying. So I would love to. I'd love some solid ice somewhere where I could really break it. A big stone. Simple things, isn't it? Simple things. Right. It seems we have quite a few people joining in the live. So say hello. Let us know where you are, what the weather's like, how many times you've been with us before. Have I missed anybody? So we've got Gillian. Oh, Anna Maria, she's tuning in on YouTube. First time, very cold, frosty, but no snow. Well, welcome to the Virtual Village Hall meditation session. Today we're going to be stripping it back to the basics. We are going to, I was thinking of doing a very simple breath awareness practice, which is for concentration, and then doing something called Vipassana meditation. Yeah, I feel like doing that today. That's what we'll do today. So we're going to do 5 minutes of a very simple practice called Anapana, and then we'll do 5, maybe 10 minutes of Vipassana, and I will explain what that is shortly. If anybody would like to say if they've heard of that before, if they've done it before, if they have any experience with any of these practices, it's always nice to see. And sometimes with these practices, they're so simple, but there's different ways of doing them, different kind of approaches or styles even. And so sometimes it's always nice to hear how other people have practiced them otherwise, So the first practice that we'll do is called Anapana. And that is old Sanskrit that basically translates to inhale, exhale. Probably one of the most simple practices that I know of out of the many, many practices that I know. And the role of this practice really is to harness your awareness, harness your concentration to actually strengthen your concentration, right? So for Anapana, you want to bring all of your focus, all of your attention into this area of the face. So around the nose, from the bridge of the nose to the nostrils, literally this little triangular space. This is where we want to totally isolate all of our concentration within. And so you're going to sit normally, doesn't need to be a fancy yoga sitting posture, just sitting comfortably. And then as you breathe through your nose, you're going to observe the feeling, observe the sensation of your breath passing in and out through the nose. So you're sitting there, eyes closed, inhaling, exhaling. There will be an area of the nose where you feel this sensation a bit more clearly, and that is where you're going to try and completely isolate your attention. You're going to hold your attention there. And then what is going to happen during this practice is that your mind will wander. You will become distracted. If you've never done this before, if you've not got regular practice of this, then that probably is what's going to happen, which is perfect. That doesn't mean that you're doing the practice wrong. That doesn't mean that you're not doing the practice. It doesn't mean you're wasting your time. What it means is that you now have an opportunity to catch yourself, so you're sitting focusing and your attention goes to a sound or a thought or somewhere else, and then you bring it back and you return to the practice. And then again, you're focusing. After a while, your attention goes somewhere else, and then you bring it back. You catch yourself and you come back to the sensation of your breath. And so every time that happens, think of it like when you go to the gym and you pick up a weight and you're strengthening that muscle with every single rep. Every rep makes that muscle stronger. Every time you do this practice, every time you bring your attention back, you are making your ability to focus and concentrate stronger. And everybody can do this. There's not a single person I've encountered. It doesn't matter if you have, ADHD or whatever it may be. Everybody has the ability to harness and strengthen their concentration and take control of their ability to focus. And it may be something that, is a wild snake to wrestle with. Your attention may be like you try and tune in and then your attention's gone, you tune in and attention's gone. And, it's going to be different levels of difficulty depending on where you are in yourself. But that doesn't mean that without the same level of practice and commitment that you can't achieve the same results as anybody else. Everybody has the ability to take control of their ability to focus and pay attention with this very simple practice. What else was I going to say? So yeah, if anyone's familiar with this practice, let me know. Drop a comment. If anybody has any questions, please ask now before we move on to the practice so I can make sure that everybody knows what they're doing. After Anapana, then we will practice what is known as Vipassana meditation. Now, there's many, many styles of meditation. They all sort of have a different purpose or focus or direction or intention. And Vipassana, so I've studied all the forms of meditation. I've gone through them all. And for me, Vipassana is the ultimate one. It's kind of like again, this is by my feeling and my experience and just how I feel about meditation in general. Every other form of practice of meditation or concentration or whatever it may be, they are all like training wheels, on a bike, training wheels on a bike for Vipassana. Vipassana is riding your bike without any wheels on. Vipassana is the ultimate form of meditation. It is the meditation that the Buddha teaches. So, first of all, when I say the Buddha, there are thousands, maybe hundreds of thousands of Buddhas. Buddha is not this unattainable ability or position or state of mind. The Buddha basically means the enlightened one. And the idea with Buddhism and practice of meditation is that everybody can reach enlightenment. Everybody can do it. But when I say the Buddha, we all think of Gautama Buddha. He's sort of the main Buddha. He's the one that really created, well, he didn't create Buddhism. He was the one that other people made Buddhism about, So Gautama Buddha, this is the meditation that he taught. Vipassana meditation is the meditation, And so what you do with Vipassana is, once you have done enough Anapana, once you've really brought your focus, your concentration to a fine point, then you take that focus and your attention and you take it to a specific area on your body. So let's say, for example, I've been focusing within my nose the whole time, right? And by doing that, I've really managed to sort of make my ability to focus on an area of my body really, really fine, like an inch in diameter or whatever. I then take that inner awareness to an area of my body, and I tune in, I focus, and I feel, and I connect to that part of my body. I tune into the experience, the sensation, I feel it. I'm there for a breath or two until I feel something, or if I don't, after a couple of breaths, I move on. I now feel the next part of my body, and piece by piece, part by part, I go around my whole body, and I connect to the unique experience that can be found in every part of your body, right? So your right thumb might feel different to your left thumb. Your right foot might feel different to your left foot. There could be a millimeter here that's ticklish and a millimeter here that feels nothing. You think of yourself as like a painting by numbers, and you're going around and you're coloring in with your awareness, your attention, you're coloring in every number until you create the whole of you. Now that can be, especially depending on how fine a point your concentration is, that can take a long time, which is perfect. That's fine. If you can sit and if you can do the whole of your body in one sitting, absolutely fantastic. But what you will experience, again, if you're new to this, as you go around the different areas of your body, there's going to be parts of you where you feel nothing. There's no experience, there's no sensation, and you can only be aware of that because the area around it has a feeling, has a sensation. So, let's say, for example, the palm of my hand. So I'm taking my attention here, and I can feel that part. Take my attention here, I can feel that. Take my attention here, I feel nothing. But then I move back here, and I feel something. So I end up kind of making like an area. I feel around the area where I feel nothing, right? And it doesn't matter whether you feel something or you feel nothing. You're aware that you feel something. You're aware that you're taking your attention to that part of your body, and there's no experience, but your attention is still there. And so that's part of the practice. It doesn't matter. You continue on. And so you're not giving any preference or any right or wrong to whatever you feel or whatever you experience. Whatever you feel is the practice. Whether you feel something, whether you feel nothing, doesn't matter. Just do the practice and you keep doing it. And, if you can, you would do this every single day, and gradually over time, what you find is that you have a more finer tuned connection with your body, including the areas where you feel nothing. So eventually you can tune into every area of your body, and finally, minutely. And then even once you've done that, you continue with the practice, and you find that what you were connecting to initially was like the top layer of your experience. You were connecting to the sensations on the skin, but then you start tuning in deeper, and you start to recognize that, my heart is beating, I can feel my pulse in every part of my body. Once you've created that level of connection with yourself, you can tune in, take your attention there, just choose an area. As you focus, you're going to feel that movement of your blood pumping through your body, and so you connect to that, and then eventually over time you connect to that throughout the whole of your body, and then even beyond that there's more and more. They're called subtler and subtler sensations. So what you immediately connect to is the gross experience, the gross sensation. Not gross as in disgusting, gross as in huge and big and large, and then subtle, and then subtle, and then subtle. And there's layers and layers and layers until eventually the idea with Vipassana is essentially what you do, that seat of your awareness, that seat of where your attention, where your concentration comes from, you end up sort of in that space, pure awareness, so you're not having to connect to anything, you're not having to tune in or isolate or feel. You are just awareness, the energy that is the very root of your being, the very root of your whole experience. And that is what the Buddha teaches. Okay, so we'll give it a go. We're only going to have sort of 5-10 minutes at it, so probably not enough time to reach enlightenment, but it'll be a few steps in that direction anyway. So I'm going to invite you to sit comfortably, and we do need the spine to be supported, to be engaged. If we're sitting and our spine is sort of rounding backwards, then the spine is not engaged, and that is a message to the body to kind of switch off, right? To turn off and go to sleep, essentially. But we want the body to be alert. So we tilt the pelvis forwards, we lengthen through the spine, we open the chest and close our eyes. And so first of all, just taking a moment to settle as you prepare to begin your practice. And you start to gather your focus, your concentration, moving away from thoughts, away from thinking, connecting to feeling. Feeling the experience of being in your body, touch, temperature. Feel the weight of your body as you sit here now. And as you tune in, as you connect, softening. Soften your body, shoulders, soften your face. No thoughts need thinking about, and there is nowhere else to be. So first of all, just make sure that you're breathing through your nose. Normal breathing, natural breaths. Bring your focus, your attention to the sensation of your breath as it passes through your nose. Maybe you feel it in the bridge, in a nostril, along the top of the lip. Wherever you feel your breath catching, wherever it is speaking loudest to you, take all of your focus, all of your attention there. Normal breathing, natural breaths. Connecting to the natural state of your body. Feeling without thinking. Observing. At some point, your focus may wander. Your attention may go elsewhere. And if it does, then catch yourself and come back to your breath. Sometimes you may lose the feeling of your breath. If this happens, then just breathe a little bit stronger through the nose. Force the breath through a little bit stronger to feel where the breath is felt the strongest. And once you find it again, coming back to your natural breathing. And so now we're going to move on to the practice of Vipassana meditation. So your attention, your focus is already at your nose. See if you can shift your attention. Move it inside of your body. And connect to an area that you naturally get drawn to. Maybe you just move slightly in the face. Maybe you take your attention to a body part, a finger or a thumb. Take your focus there. Feel, connect. Be there for a breath or two. And then move on. Just staying in the same area of the body, but moving slightly. Connecting to that next part of you. Again, just shifting your awareness slightly. Connect to whatever you feel, whether it is something or nothing. Again, it doesn't matter. Don't think about it. Don't get distracted. Stay with the practice. And then again, shift your focus, shift your attention. And piece by piece, part by part, exploring your body. Connecting, feeling. Imagine your attention, your focus is a torch. In every part of your body, you are shining some light on that part of yourself. Looking in every nook and every cranny. Looking around, exploring. Finding every piece of you. Maybe finding forgotten places. Remembering old parts of you. Illuminating all that you are. And by doing this practice, you strengthen your mind-body connection. Every time you tune in, every time you focus to whatever experience is happening in that isolated area of your body, you create a deeper connection with yourself. And every time you practice, you go deeper and deeper. Finding more, or maybe more appropriate to say, remembering more. So we're going to bring this meditation to a close. So relax your practice. Take a few deep belly breaths as you prepare to come out. And then when you're ready, opening your eyes. So, a very simple practice. One that is easy to do in your own time. Definitely a good practice to give it more than 5 minutes if you can. In terms of teaching meditation, Vipassana is sort of the hardest one to teach because, once I've told you what to do, there's no more guidance. It's very much such a simple practice that once I've told you what to do, I just have to sit there in silence. So I haven't got much use beyond the first few minutes, really. But we'll be practicing other things every month here on the Virtual Village Hall. And again, all of these practices will lead to you being able to practice better with Vipassana the next time it comes around. So if there's something that you're interested in, please keep tuning in, keep practicing, practice as much as you can. And then we'll see month by month how we do, how we progress. And that'll be it for January, everyone. So thank you all very much for tuning in live. Thank you for tuning in later if you are. Please still leave a comment, drop any questions you may have. I can come back and read the messages. But until then, have a wonderful practice, and I'll see you soon.